Good afternoon. Welcome to this demonstration of how to install the EntityStream server product onto a machine. The product is a Java-based product and therefore can be installed on any architecture that supports a JDK or JRE version 1.8. So this can be either a Windows machine or a Mac OS X or various different flavors of Linux and some flavors of Unix. The first thing we need to do is visit the website where you'll find the download links for EntityStream. So the link is underneath downloads. You will see on this page that there are some installation instructions. They're very brief. Hopefully this demonstration will assist you in this process. The first thing we need to do is install MongoDB. The community edition of version 3.6 or above is absolutely essential. You can install the enterprise edition if you want some level of supportability, but we don't need that as part of the product. We also do need JDK 1.8. Just an explanation that Mongo is used to store the data that we collect from your files and systems using EntityStream, and is only required for one server, so one database server per installation of EntityStream. But JDK 1.8 needs to be installed on every machine that will run EntityStream, whether that's the server component or whether that's the agent components, such as the agents that collect data from the file system or SharePoint or Microsoft Exchange, Outlook 365. Okay, so first thing we'll do is visit the prerequisites, which is to go to MongoDB. I'm running on a OS X machine here, so I would just go in and select the TGZ, the tar zipped file. If I was running on Windows, I can choose the Windows. It hopefully would go right to that page for me, or Linux, or any other platform, and just choose the appropriate download link, the big green button. Okay. So I've already pre-downloaded this file just because it takes about 30 seconds to a minute. So I will show that file in the folder. As you can see here, it's already downloaded and unzipped inside my downloads folder inside on my machine. What I want to do is I want to install that into a directory somewhere that's not in my downloads folder. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. One, you can just copy this entire directory using the command C or edit to copy command, and then you can go to another directory where you want to put it and paste it, and then rename the MongoDB directory to something which is a little bit more user-friendly. Or you can go and use the terminal window, and you can type in the commands to copy the files across. I'm going to take the easy approach today, which is to copy this file, this directory, and then go to a location on my machine that I'm interested in placing that software. So go to, in this case, I'm going to go to my root directory, and I am going to paste it in here. It's going to ask me for my password. That's purely because I am pasting it into the root of my machine. If I was on Windows, this process is a lot easier. You just double click on the MSI file and it would go through a wizard process to install MongoDB and start that process for you as well. It's slightly more complex on Linux-based machines. So now if I want to, I can just rename this directory to MongoDB. And again, it's going to require me to type in a password. So now I have a root MongoDB installation. I need to start my product. So if I change directory to my newly created directory and go into my bin directory where the software is installed. So I did PwC, you can see where I am. It's -LA, and you should be able to see the files have been created today. And I want to start this MongoDB database daemon. So to do that, I just need to type in MongoD. Now it will by default choose your the data directory for Mongo. You can override this on the command line if you want to do that. You see, you can override this directory here. This is where it stores its files for your machine. So you can override that by choosing the appropriate command line settings when you start this process. Additionally, you can also start MongoDB in the background when your machine starts up, and you don't have to go through this process every day if you don't want to. The next step, once we have done the Mongo, which as I think you agree is fairly simple, is to install the Java JDK. Now again, just follow the link from the website to the download kit. First thing you need to do before you do this is accept the license agreement. It will save you a lot of problems in a few minutes when you click on the link itself, and choose the appropriate download link for you. This is a DMG image on a Mac, and that means that when it opens, when it's downloaded, it will ask you to drag something across into your applications directory, or click on a link, and it will start an installation process for you. Much simpler, I think, than the MongoDB install. On Windows, again, it's an executable. So when you download this, it will go through a wizard. Just take all the default options and then complete the installation where it will be on your machine. At the end of this prerequisites, I kind of recommend that you reboot the machine, although it isn't always necessary. Sometimes it's necessary to reboot the machine. If you do that, then you're going to need to restart your Mongo using your mongo d command in a terminal window, or if you're on Windows, of course, it should restart as a service, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. The next thing to do is to choose the distribution for EntityStream. Now there are two distributions you can choose on the website. There's a Mac OS X distribution and a Windows x64 distribution. Unix and Linux distributions are available on request and subject to enterprise licensing. So we don't allow them to be downloaded, but you can contact us. We will afford you a 30-day evaluation license to try those out in an enterprise licensing scenario. Okay, so I just choose my my link for my Mac OS X, and it's going to take me to pay for this, which is, as you can see, it's zero. So I can just click buy now, and it will download 161 megabytes of files for me, of which clearly I have those already on my machine. So if I go to the appropriate directory, oops, I can find my installer, and this will be the file that you will receive when you download it. And I just want to basically double click on that file because I have Java JDK 1.8 installed. Then of course it will just start this process up. It's a very simple process. I'm just going to click through. It tells you about the prerequisites, which we have just gone through. It talks you about the installation process, how to run the server, etc. And it will ask you to accept the licensing agreement. Please take note of some of the licensing terms, if not all of the licensing terms. They are very important. So you will have installed Mongo on a machine. Hopefully, for your simplicity, it's this machine. So therefore, you can choose to point the EntityStream installation at the local host, which is the same machine that you're on, the port number 27017, and that will allow EntityStream to know where your Mongo database will be installed. You can install it on a separate machine, even in the evaluation process, and you'll just provide there an IP address or a domain name of some form so we can connect through to it. The maximum memory that we will be able to use, clearly 1 gigabytes or 1024 megabytes is not a huge amount. I recommend that if you are going to use it, then start with at least 3 gigabytes because the process can be fairly memory hungry. You're going to need to browse to a directory which contains your Java Java installation. That's generally on a Mac. It's under Java Virtual Machines, JDK 1.8, Contents Home. I think I actually need to go back up, choose that, and OK. On a Windows machine, it will be on C:, Program Files, Java, and then there'll be a Java version. They just follow the same process and navigate through to the directory just before the bin directory, which contains the Java exe file. So once I've selected these settings for my advanced configuration, then I can click Next. There are two components I can install. The EntityStream Identity Hub server, which is our core server process, which allows us to capture all the files, match them together, and then provide you with searching capability. Now that has to be installed on one machine in your environment. And then there's the EntityStream file broker agent that can be installed on multiple machines, including the same machine as the Identity Hub server machine. What that process does is that collects files that change. So, for example, CSV files or Excel files or XML files that you're interested in capturing together. It will capture those files and send them to the Identity Hub server. On a regular basis, generally within 10 seconds of them being changed on that file system. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to choose both options. I need to install both on this machine. And I'm going to choose an appropriate subdirectory. As usual, we always recommend that you take spaces out of path names when you install. But you know, it will support it. It is okay to do that. So click on OK. And then the process will now continue for a few minutes and the product will be installed. So I will pause this demonstration and come back in 30 seconds and we'll see. So the installation is complete and we should now find that the product has been installed in our applications EntityStream 1.1 subdirectory, and everything we need there to start and stop the product is also available. Now, when the product installs on Windows, it installs as a service component. So you will see in the control panel services, you will see EntityStream, the version number in there, and you will see a start and a stop button, which will enable you to start and stop the process. That will start and stop the web server, which will be available on this machine on port 8080 as a default. That can be changed. On a Mac OS X machine, then the server will also be started automatically. It's started as an application, a plist, and you can also start and stop it here if you want to, using the start ESS command and the stop ESS command, or the start ESS FLL, which is the file listener process. If you've installed that on this machine, that will also be available, and stop ESFLL. That concludes the demonstration of the installation process. I encourage you to come back to the next tutorial, which will talk about actually setting up and doing the initial configuration of EntityStream, which takes only a few minutes, but is worth watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you.